of course, and some of them did, a lot of them did actually, and the system itself um, didn't treat them fair and equal. So what happened was they did do a human action lawsuit type of thing, almost like to to try to right the wrongs that were done over the last say 50, 60, 70, 100 years or whatever it has been, and that's basically what's happening with that. Um, Now people, I've heard a lot of people say they're not benefiting from it. It's something where a lot of people are saying that they don't know how to go about getting the money that was set aside, about what they have to do, and that part I don't know too much about. I know I would have to read up on it more, or
Right.
maybe talk to my wife about that one. But basically, that's what that was. I mean, black farmers have been treated poorly over the years, and not given the same level of respect and dignity that white non-black farmers, basically white farmers, were given.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
that's
that was
basically so.
that was I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. But that's money. That money was basically put aside by the government because they did win the lawsuit, and now, as a matter of fact, there's another lawsuit going on. I think it came out of North Carolina too. Both of them, I think, came out of North Carolina, where there was a case of bad seed.
Yes.
There were bad seeds that were sold to black farmers and or given to black farmers, one of the two. And that lawsuit is now in litigation and everything. I think it's in what is it, either Raleigh or Charlotte, North Carolina, where that's happening at. So I mean, there are things that are happening with black farmers, and if you're on YouTube, not YouTube, if you're on Facebook, um, there is a group that, like, I think I forgot the name of it. Black farmer, I belong to it. I'm thinking the name of it, but black farmers who are basically, um, talking about what's going on in their particular communities, telling about the different programs that are going on out there, and what the status is on that particular lawsuit with the seeds and or with the 1.6, I mean, yeah, 1.6 billion, 1.2 billion, whatever. I've heard different numbers for it, but it's in the billion. It's a billion mark. So yeah. So I mean, they have a lot of things going on out there like that, and you just basically have to, like, do the researching part of it to find out where actually that money. How do you go about getting that money? That's the thing about it.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, I don't know if it's for, like, people who have 100 acres or more, if it's for something. I don't know the particulars too much of it because, it was something we're just a small little thing. We have is like a small, it's not like some like huge operation, and that's why I said I never really. I mean, I saw it, I paid attention to it, but I really didn't know the particulars of it. So
Yes.
I really can't speak and say, well, yeah, you do this, this, and this. No, you know.
Yeah.
And also too, more in my case, like I was saying, what we were talking about before on Ren's page, it's more in the thing of people who are looking for money to purchase farmland. Um, I know you asked the other day about foreclosure properties.
Yes.
Yes, they would fall into that thing. Basically, when we went to the process a couple of years ago, what you had to do was this. I figure I got the police right in front of me. What I had to do was this. I'm about to pull over in a minute anyway. But you had to basically, like I said, find the particular piece of land that you wanted. Um, which here where I live at in Alabama is pretty easy. There's a lot of those spots open, a lot of spots, for sale. Um, because a lot of times people think, well, the land's depleted. No, it's not a case of it being depleted. A lot of times what happens is people don't realize the average age of a farmer is 50 years old and white and male.
Okay.
So there's a whole bunch of them that's over the age of 50 that I've seen around here. And farming doesn't pay like it used to pay. So what happens is a lot of them end up just selling their land. They might have had 100, 200, 1,500, 2,000 acres. I've seen some of these people have 2 and 3 to 4,000 acres, and they'll split it up and sell it.
I see.
Like 100-acre parcels or 50-acre parcels, stuff like that. Because 'cause I had an old white dude offer me 75 acres, 100-acre parcels or 50-acre parcels, stuff like that. Because am I echoing again?
I apologize. Just making sure everything was broadcasting the way it should. I do apologize.
Oh, no. No, but so what happens is he offered me 75. He offered us 75 acres, and he was like, basically he only wanted like, I think it was the price. It was kind of funny when he said it. I thought he was joking at first, but he said basically the price for him to get what was it he wanted? A Tahoe for himself and a no, it was a Tahoe for his wife and a Toyota like Forerunner or something like that, or some truck for his wife.
I see.
I'm like, you gotta be kidding. I said, well, between the two of them, that's only gonna be about $110,000 maybe between the two vehicles. And so he's like, yeah, about that. So you gonna send me 75 acres of prime land for that? Because he's like, basically, they don't need it anymore.
Wow.
They're in their 70s and 80s. He was a big producer of game fighting chickens.
Okay.
He sells them. Yeah, he sells them around the world, and he's still one of the biggest producers of them. And so he was like, he had his extra land, and it's right near the interstate that was just on I-20. So he was basically, people looking to do that kind of thing. Now, if you have a deal like that, or somebody who was kind of like that, what I would end up doing is once I said, okay, well, hey, let's talk about this, I would go to the USDA when they get back open again. When they open back up, you would go. There's a rep, usually an agent within in your particular area that deals with that. And so then what happens is you would go there and tell them, hey, look, I got this 75 acres. I'm looking to do a farm, and they're gonna tell you to have a business plan written up. You write up the business plan basically, and you tell them, okay, look, I'm gonna be raising. Now they won't do row crop. And row cropping basically is you're like say if I'm gonna grow 1,000 acres of corn, they won't do row crop because that's a whole separate thing.
Okay.
So for some, I mean, they treat that totally different because that's the first thing they ask is, are you gonna be doing row crops? I said, well, no, we're not doing row crops at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we wrote up the business plan. My wife and I, kind of wrote it up. What we want to do and how many of this, and this we were going to have. Whether it be cattle, sheep, goats, chickens, and then from that point, you put the proposal in along with um, the land proposal that you're putting out there, saying that, hey, I want to buy this 75 acres. This is what the man is charging us for the 75 acres, and then for like or 100 acres, whatever it might be, or 10 acres. And then from that point, you basically put everything in. You go blind in paperwork, and then it becomes a kind of a hurry up and wait process.
Okay.
It's I would tell people it's a non-scored product. What that means is non-scored product is when you go to the bank, you have a FICO score. When you do anything, there's a FICO score, credit cards, bank, anything like that. And they look at that FICO score to gauge basically, can you repay this loan? Can you handle this level of debt? In the case of U.S. government loans, basically they just kind of look at your credit itself and not your credit score.
I see.
So now you can have a credit score of 500, but you've been paying your stuff on time, when everything was cool, then you should be good to go. Because they're just looking at the credit itself, not the number that everybody gets mesmerized by that FICO score number. It's not going to be a case of that. And so then what happens is, then you go from that point. Once they do it, they run that whole thing. A bankruptcy, I don't. Basically, I think if it's a bankruptcy and you owe the government, you won't be able to get the loan. So, in other words, these student loans, you defaulted on another loan from them before, FH, anything like that, and you owe Uncle Sam any money, you could forget it. And then what happens is basically, you got to produce your 2 years of taxes and all that good stuff. Go blind in paperwork, hand that in, and then, like I said, it becomes a hurry up and wait process where you just sit back and you kind of make sure you tell the person, hey, I'm interested still, because they don't deal with like a real estate agent like a bank would, like a traditional funding type of thing. They basically go to you. They kind of deal with you, and you deal with the person that you're buying the property from.
Yes.
Unfortunately, what took us a little long because it was driving us crazy was the woman. I mean, the people that we were buying the property from. It was up for sale for 3 years, and they basically had a real estate agent, and she was driving us nuts because every 5 minutes, lady, we told you it's not going to be overnight. And I can see why the U.S. government didn't want to be bothered with the agent because she was driving us crazy. Because she wants her 6%. She's trying to get paid. And she's a prospective buyer. And if it was a case of somebody else was going to be buying the property, then we kind of be holding them up from a buyer that can buy the property right then and there. So that's the game. That's the hard part of that game with the government because somebody could actually snatch that property out from underneath you.
Yes.
But chances are, if you put down a down payment or deposit or something like that, that can stop all that nonsense, which happens a lot of times because people, especially if it's in a popular area. But then from there, once you get approved and everything, it goes real fast. Then all of a sudden, it's the exact opposite. It goes extremely fast. Like Monday you're approved, like Tuesday we're ready to close, kind of thing. you know,
That is
and
awesome.
and they have an attorney. Of course, they'll find an attorney for you. They will have somebody also too. That before I'm going to step back one. That will have somebody come out and look at the property to see if it is viable, and make sure that okay, yes, this particular property is here. Yes, it's a farm kind of thing. Um, and yeah, it's going to be something that's viable for this particular project. Then once you, like I said, once everything goes in, you go to the attorney, you sign off on everything, they cut the check. Ironic, funny part is they cut the check to you. It's a physical check from your Uncle Sam to you, but you give it to the people that are buying the. I mean, you're selling the property, they're selling the property to you, and then whatever's left, basically they cut you a check, and it's a case of doing that, and then from there you just basically the property like any like a home. It's the property is yours. Now you can't have it where you have other people live. I think what is it? You can't have other people live on it for like 3 to 5 years. So even if I wanted to break my property up into 2 acre lots or 5 acre lots, I couldn't do it for like another couple of years. So I basically it has to be unless it's a family member. So I had somebody where I'm like, if I had a project where I said, well, hey, I'll break it into 2 acre lots, and we have our own little community kind of thing, and everybody grow their own little thing, do their own thing, but we're all be in the same little area. I couldn't do that. You can't do that, unfortunately. Um, and then basically, when it comes down to the part where helping you out with stuff like the what do you call it? The like a well, or what's like a pond, wells, stuff like that. They have grants. They will actually help you. They will, they'll put a pond in for you.
Oh, that's
Yeah, they'll put a well in for you.
really
It will fence off your whole entire place. Like there's a program that I'm trying to get into now that where if you have like 10 goats or more, I gotta get the 10 goats
yes.
first. I have seven. I mean, I have two, but I want more now because what happens is if you have 10 goats and you have a forested kind of area that they can roam in and do their whole entire thing in, they will fence off your whole entire property for you. They will
That
give you the money to do that.
that is wonderful.
So there's programs out there that basically they will like say if I want a pond in my on my property, I can say, hey, look, I'm looking to do this pond thing, and I want to have it stocked with fish or whatever else. Um, they'll do it. I mean, there's some stipulations. I think if you have access to, I think the general public has to have access to the property.
That's it.
Suppose, yeah,
Okay.
that's the only, so that's the only thing with it. So you got, if you have a wide open area, it's no big deal.
Hmm.
You have people that are like, if you have it fenced all off, that means they would have to come ask you to come in, and then you can let them fish.
Okay.
Um, let's see, like about a
Do
tenth
you
of a
know the
mile.
name? Do you know what the if that program has a specific name?
Actually, you had to just like with the U.S. government, they don't have like it's not like if it's like something with goat fencing. Basically, if you put in like goat fencing program or goat fencing grants, for instance, or like welfare, that's how it'll pop up when you go to the USDA's website.
Okay.
So there's like the names of the particular programs they change them. So I'm like sometimes it's like I know it's like a goat fencing program. You have to have your paperwork in by October, but you have a whole like you have it from like October to October to get it done.
Yes.
And actually, it's a reimbursement thing. They reimburse you all the money because once you get approved, you kind of got to put the money up initially. Then they'll turn around and give you the money right back.
I see.
I know a lot of people that have done that. Same thing with like cattle. Same thing with like sheep, anything like that. So I mean, there's different programs. Like I said, I would tell anybody go to the USDA's website and they would know we have all the different ones that are broken down. Like some of the ones that you have to kind of search. You kind of got to search around for them because they're programs that you won't know about. Like the goat one with the fencing, I didn't know about it because I just happened to see it because we went to an auction because we were selling out some chickens
Mhm.
and because we had way too many of them and we were selling off some chickens and when I went to auction, I was reading this thing and I'm sitting there looking at the pamphlet. Well, I was waiting for the lady to do her thing. And I'm like, oh, okay. There's a meeting here next week about grants for putting up fencing up. And that's how I found out about it.
Okay.
Your county agent's supposed to tell you about a lot of these programs, but the county agent we have now, dude, I don't know if he's retiring soon or what's up with this boy, but I mean, he's a nice cat, but he's like you don't never see him. Whereas the one that was before, the woman that was a county agent, she was always on top of stuff. That's how we ended up getting the property.
Okay.
She was on top of stuff. She would like tell you, hey, look, they looking for minority farmers, da 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 da. And I know, you guys were doing a little thing out of your backyard. Did you want to make it larger? And we were like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, no.
And my son was going off for agriculture. My wife is the agriculture teacher in the district, science teacher. We're like, yeah, okay, what we got to do? This is what we had the process we had to go through. And so, they basically, well, they're supposed to help you with all that stuff. The county agent, or whatever they may call it in your area. See, like, every state has one, like, see, here is the, what is it, the cooperative, I forgot, it's like the Alabama Cooperative something. Yeah, Alabama Cooperative Extension,
Okay.
for instance. So it's out of basically Auburn University and Alabama A&M, and Tuskegee does some of it too. So it's two historically black colleges, and then Auburn is of course a white school. And so they do a lot of programs for the community to help you with a lot of your farming issues.
Okay.
So, each state has that. So, like where you're at, I think it's Michigan.
Yeah.
University of Michigan might have a farm. It'll be like the University of Michigan Farmers Cooperative or something like that.
Yes.
So, if you look it up in your Google it or telephone book, you'll find it because I know somebody else that was asking me about this. They found it for their area and they said they already had a conversation with them. Educated smoker
Yeah.
actually.
Oh, that's
Um,
found it.
yeah, she found it for her where she's at down in California.
Mm-hmm.
Mexico way. So I told her, I said, yeah, you got to, every place is a little different. I mean, usually if I can find it for you, I mean, I'll tell you, hey, this is where it is. Check it out, give them a call. Um, but every state has it pretty much. I'm originally from New York. So like New York, I know it's the Cornell Cooperative Extension from Cornell University. So, um, once you, like I said, hook up with them, they can tell you a lot of the individual programs for your particular area
Yes.
and your particular, and see, that's why I say, because some of these things are regional too.
Yes.
Because what happens here might be different in Michigan. What happened? Like I'm basically in the middle of a national forest,
Okay.
so timber and forestry is huge here.
Mm-hmm.
You see, basically I got number of trees and mountains around me.
Okay.
So the forestry thing is huge. It's big here, and the chicken like the poultry thing is big here too. Chicken farms or chicken we call them, you see like chicken houses they call
Mm-hmm.
them. They're huge. I mean, they're gigantic, like the size double the size of football field type houses that have chickens, little chicks in them,
Right.
and people are paid to basically raise those chicks up. um they give them a special feed. They usually grow up to full size within about 2 months, and then they have a truck that comes and grabs them all up and takes them to the to Tyson or Purdue or whatever chicken factory it is. But so that's why I would tell people, look in your local community to see what's going on with your area to find out what's up. Because, like I said, a lot of these grants that are out there, like for well digging, it might be basically, it might be the name of it, a well digging grant, or a grant to basically make sure your water's clean and you go to the health department for that. Well, here you go to the health department for that. But to make sure your water's clean, that you do not have any toxins in the water. Um, Also to other projects and programs they have out, you know. And also too, I know there's also when it comes to the farming piece, once you get started, they have um, low interest loans that you have that basically will help you with, buying equipment, buying materials, purchasing animals if you're doing animals, seed if you're doing, a small kind of farming thing, not a huge row crop operation. They will, I think, yeah, it's up to 50,000 now. You think 30,000? Now it's 50,000. They will
50,000.
lend you. Yep, 50,000. They will lend you. It's a 7 year payback. But like I said, oh, that's the thing too. Like I was saying to you guys last week, what happens too is when you pay the loan back. Now you can pay it monthly if you want to. They'll do it. They'll take it monthly. But the thing about it is you only get a bill once a year.
Okay.
So you have to be mindful of that because, like, say if you get the loan and it gets approved, say here in January, just remember in January, in December, you're gonna get a bill for that year saying that, oh, by the way, okay, $7,000 is due in January,
Okay.
you know,
Be
and so then you,
managed to pay monthly or at least set aside that money in an
yeah,
escrow account monthly so that you're not hit with a whopping sum at the end of the year.
right, yeah, because I mean, like us, we got to pay almost 5,000 in October. We're good in September, but like I said, we put aside for it, knowing, okay, look, I think it's like $450 a month, something like that. You put it aside, because it's like, okay, I know come September, two things is going well. Actually, two things is going to happen within the 2 month period. There, our son's tuition bill gonna pop up, and that bill's gonna pop up. So you got to drop Auburn University their money, and you got to drop the federal government their money. So you always got to remember that too. So that's the thing about it. Even with the 7 year loan, you have to you have 7 years, like I said, is the payback. But just be mindful that if you borrow 50,000, you're going to pay that bad boy back in 7 years. So you're thinking about what? About probably about 8,000 a year.
Yeah.
If you don't remember that, you'll remember it when it comes. The first bill comes, and you don't want to default on it because they'll come and take your place. They'll come and take it, and that's happened to black farmers too, where they falling behind. A lot of black farmers are falling behind. They've gotten in trouble financially, and next thing you know, you get the U.S. Marshal Service and all them coming to take your stuff. So you
Yeah.
don't want to end up in a situation like that either.
Exactly. Yeah, you want to go into it like someone like you and talk to the people in your county and people, that's had some experience so that you don't wind up in that situation where you're being
Yeah.
foreclosed upon and pushed out of your property because you didn't do something right or pay your money
Right.
on time.
Right.
That's
And
mis-
yeah, absolutely, you want to make sure you do that. And they also have a what is it? A urban, no urban, rural, a rural. Well, they have an urban one too, but a rural farming initiative. I mean, basically a housing initiative thing too. Where say if I have that same 75 acres of land, but I don't have a house on it, but I
Mhm.
want to put a house, they'll help you with basically a low interest loan too for the mortgage
Okay.
to get you a house so you can and most people around here um don't have site built homes. They'll have a double wide, a triple wide, and they're not like trailers of the past. When I first thought about trailers, I'm like trailer, but I started seeing some of them. I'm like, these things, man, look better than most people's homes. They're like nice and they're huge. We
That's
talking about something that's 2,500, 3,000 square foot. With dining rooms, living rooms, full, dens, huge bathrooms and bedrooms. and you can get them under 100, way under 100,000. So
Yes,
a
I
lot of
think
people do
I
that.
see one with a basement and everything, just like you said, the bedrooms, the kitchen, everything, the nice garage, and yeah.
Yeah, it has everything. Yeah,
Yep.
modular homes and trip double wides and triple wides are usually the biggest thing you'll see down here.
Okay.
And that's what I tell people basically, I mean, don't if you want to put something like that on your property, they'll flatten out the land, make sure the electrical and everything is running. If you need to have a well, they dig the well piece for you. Um, if you're gonna use propane or wood, or it depends on whatever you're gonna heat. With a lot of people have propane here, a lot of people have natural gas. Depends on how far you are from a line.
Hmm.
Um, and one thing which surprises me down here, which is not a big initiative, but it's ironically bigger in the north, in a lot of places, is solar. We
Solar.
get a lot of yeah, we get a lot of sun here, but it's like okay, I mean, it's like almost 300, almost close to 300 days of sun a year.
Hmm.
But today's not one of them. But but the last 3 4 days has been maybe getting a lot of rain though too lately. But in the winter months, but in the summer months, it's you got almost sun almost. I mean, from like once May kicks in, April, May to about October, you got nothing but October, November, you're still in the 80s and 90s and 100s.
Hmm.
Um, so it's a case of but solar. I've been searching around for that to try to find some monies. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. To try to find some monies for that because they have a program to this. I mean, I know a couple of states have programs where you can do solar or wind, and they will help you with that. And I'm looking for solar and wind both. Because I mean I want to go that route, kind of get off the grid with where I end up selling electricity back to Alabama Power, as opposed to me getting a bill from them every month. I'm getting paid for it.
Yeah,
But
you mentioned that too. I mean, somewhere there was a place here in Michigan, Jackson, Michigan, to be exact, where a guy was off the grid. He was collecting his own rainwater. I don't know what he was doing. I mean, he may have had the solar energy or whatever, but he was basically prosecuted, or they came after him for that. They said what he was doing was illegal. He could not harness his own water and his own power. Do you know anything about that when they come after people for that? I know.
it,
Huh?
it varies by state. That
Okay.
one's a vary by state one. Next door to the south of me in Florida,
Yes.
I heard it's illegal, for them to do it, and especially I think harness power, especially you can't. They want you to be somewhat still on the grid.
Yes.
Where here, I haven't heard of anybody say, "Well, hey, you can't do that."
Okay.
And I see some people that do it. So I don't think it's a big issue here because I don't. I think they probably feel that not that many people are going to do it.
Okay.
Whereas, I think it was in Washington State. I think it was Washington State, somewhere up in the Northwest, where the guy was prosecuted because he had a hunt with it, but then too he had like 25,000 gallons. he had, that he basically a water that he basically he basically was holding on to. He had tanks and tanks and lakes and so he had all kinds of stuff. So that I mean it's a little different story. I don't know if I had that kind of water reserve, I think maybe it'd be a little bit of a problem. But if you're talking about something, hey, I'm holding a couple of thousand gallons, you know, I mean, I do rain catchment all the time.
You do? Okay.
I do rain catchment for a lot of the water we have. Um, I get the big IBC, what they call them IBC containers, which they're like 250 gallons. They're like huge white opaque kind of things,
I've seen.
and it has a big, huge black top on them. And basically you just water goes in there, and it has a spigot thing on it. And there it is. So
Okay.
I mean, I use those. I mean, along with the water that I get, from. I'm fortunate enough that I'm close to a line, so I can tap off the county.
Okay.
But if I decide to go further up the property, up to the top part of the hill, then I would have to have a well. And
Okay.
then you hope. That's the only thing with a well is too. You hope the water's good, and B, you help you don't end up you don't dry out after so much time.
Hmm.
I pump water for a year and then all of a sudden I'm dead. I'm dried out. That happens with people with wells a
Yes.
lot.
Well, when that happens, do you try to find another sort, like tap
Yeah,
another room? Okay.
yeah, they would tap into another. They would just try to find another spot for you. They have people that will come out professionally do it, and
Okay.
they will come out to try to find a spot for you. Um, but I've heard basically I'm sitting on top of an artesian well,
Ooh,
supposedly, which is excellent water,
I
which is
know.
top quality. Yeah, which is top quality water. So and that's what I mean. That's what one of the old guys, old white dude, was telling me. He said, "Man, you know that over there where you at is like an artesian well." I'm like, "Get out." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "A lot of people don't realize it, but it is."
That
And I
is.
said, "Well, I might have to check it out and see
Oh
and
yeah.
tap off county and go ahead and go with the artesian and and see because a well digging is about $5,000
Mm-hmm.
if you got to come out of pocket for it between 3 and 5,000, and then that's you got to have a pump, electric pump for it, unless you go the old school way. Throw the bucket in the hole, crank it up, or do the pump thing manually. Now you might want to have one of them as a backup because your electricity goes out, you ain't got no pump, So
And if
or
you
you'll have people with small solar pumps. They'll have the small ones with the solar panels that sit on top of it. It'll be like sitting like that. The pump's there. So if it did go bad, you still have you still got electricity.
okay. Yeah, and
Yeah.
if you had an artesian well, you make that $5,000, and you went, you took it into the business realm, you would make
Yeah.
that money back in a heartbeat because they're
Oh
making
yeah.
so much money off of bottled water here in Michigan. They just uh, do something with the water here. They pump it out of Lake Michigan, bottle it, sell it back to us, and they
Mm-hmm.
they 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 get it for pennies on the dollar, and then they sell it back to us a couple hundred times that to make their money.
Oh yeah.
So
I
yeah,
believe
you
it.
would be
Shoot, I lived on Lake. I lived in Buffalo, which was on Lake Erie.
mhm,
So basically, I know I'm like, okay, I know y'all pumping it out of Lake Erie,
mhm,
you know,
exactly.
and I know that's some nasty water, but they pumping it out of there, whatever. And said turn around, sell you. Oh yeah, this is clear spring water. I'm like, yeah,
Exactly. That's
yeah.
exactly.
It's from Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. They're basically sitting right there, So
Well,
nah,
what do you know? Let's change gears a little bit and go into hydroponics since we're talking about water. Tell me a little
mhm.
bit about what you know about hydroponics.
Hydroponics basically it's kind of funny. My wife and I were just talking about that the other day because she went to a seminar at Auburn about hydroponics and aquaponics.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, on Facebook, there's a sister, Urban Farm Sister is her name. If you got, like I said, if you're on Facebook, Urban Farm Sister, Nadia, oh God, what's Nadia's last name? I can't think of it, but it'll come to me by the time we get done. But Nadia, she basically, she's big into the aquaponics, hydroponics thing.
Okay.
But hydroponics, like I said, we're about to step into that realm because it's nice if you're in a small setting. I mean, because she shows how she does it in a small area,
Okay.
using those Rubbermaid containers and running water basically through the tubes to, it doesn't take that much. It's almost like drip irrigation. It doesn't take that much to keep the plants running and have them grow. And I'm like I said, matter of fact, I'm probably gonna go to the same seminar my wife went to when it comes to hydroponics, because I want to learn more about it myself. Now, aquaponics, I know about it enough where you, like I said, again, you can build your own fish tanks and have your food basically growing on top of it. Hydroponics and aquaponics are kind of somewhat similar. One doesn't have the fish, the other one does.
Okay.
And you have your fish basically growing underneath, doing their thing underneath. Make sure you have your aerators and your pumps and stuff to make sure they keep they can breathe and all that. I
Right.
mean air. And then you basically grow your green. A lot of times people just grow green stuff in terms of like lettuce, your greenery type things like that, lettuces and greens, stuff that's not deep rooting, stuff that is not that it needs that it has to have a bulb to it. Like it ends up growing into a ball like a rutabaga or a beet. You wouldn't want to do anything like that.
Yeah.
Sweet potato, no. you know,
No root vegetable.
regular, yeah, yeah, no regular potatoes, no. Because I mean, like I said, I do the purple potatoes sometimes, and I've done sweet potatoes in the past. Sweet potatoes, you need like some space,
Mhm.
underneath to
Right.
grow them for them to be big and huge like the people are used to seeing.
Yes.
But when it comes to hydroponics, like I said, I'm learning about it. As a matter of fact, I'm probably gonna sign up for it when it comes up this year. in the next month or so. So I can talk more intelligent about that. And like I said, because aquaponics, I've learned about hydro. I haven't yet as much. Like I said, my wife's told me about what she learned, she did, and what she's doing about to do at school
Hmm.
with it. And for what I've seen at Urban Farm Sister, she does it. She does a lot with it.
Okay, I'll look
And
it up for sure.
yeah, definitely look her up. Nadia, it's gonna come to me in a minute. But Urban Farm Sister is her page.
Yes.
But and like I said, she talks a lot about hydroponics in terms of that. And I matter of fact, she gives classes. She's in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
And so, yeah, she does classes about it. She does all kinds of stuff. I think she was starting to move into the realm of doing online type classes on it. Because she was asking me about aquaponics, and other people have been. I mean, now that I know about, like I said, because um, I studied up on it. My wife, she went to another class about that because she had to go to, for training for her classroom. And if you have you don't need a ton of space for it, and you can do it if you like. Okay, if you like fish, if you like eating fish, let's put it that way, because it's gonna be fish. The chances are you want to eat.
Yes.
Tilapia is a big one. They do, a lot of people do, but after my son told me about the tilapia thing, I'm like, no, I'll never mess with another tilapia. I don't care if it comes from China or it's even born, or even if it's raised here.
That seems unnatural, doesn't it? Yeah.
It's a lot of genetic crap that he basically, that's what he's going to school for. There's a lot of genetic crap that they're messing around with, um, that they're doing. It's like, you don't want to be messing with that.
Right.
But there's other ones that they use bluegill.
My favorite.
Yeah, I'll say because I know bluegill's one of them. Koi is another one.
Koi are pretty.
Yeah, I mean, if you want something that's a more pretty fish, yeah,
Hmm.
you're just using it for the nutrient part of it all. Koi would be a good one. Bluegill would be a good one if you like you said, eat fish wise.
Hmm.
I want to say smallmouth bass. I think perch. It's like there's a few. There's a list. There's like 4 or 5 of them on that list.
Hmm.
Because down here brim are big. Um, Tilapia is huge here,
Hmm.
fishing wise, and unless you go down to the coast, then you got your ocean fish down there. Catfish is huge here.
Right.
Catfish is another one. Yeah, catfish is huge. You can't go no place without
Everybody in the
everybody and their mama catfish. I'm like, don't you people eat anything besides? No, they don't. Sorry about that. Like,
Oh, that's okay.
they don't. Catfish is huge here, so it's that's another one a lot of people use too.
And all
But
this and money for all this and information for all this. Well, I know you mentioned I can talk to my local, like Michigan State
yeah,
University Extension, but would most of the money for this or programs be on the USDA website as well?
some of them will be. Yes, for
Okay.
that it probably would be too. Um, But like I said, what happens is you'll find out more information a lot of times at your local level
Yes.
because USDA is going to give you your broad blanket stuff.
Okay.
Well, yeah, there's a program out there. Okay, well, what's the program do? Well, okay, call your local agent because in Michigan it might do one thing, in New York it might be do something else, and in Florida it does something. So
Okay.
it depends. So that's why a lot of times check your local agents because they're going to be the ones that tell you, okay, hey, guess what? In your community, we're doing community gardens. Okay, well, hey, cool. I'll do a community garden, and that's the big initiative there.
Hmm.
As say somewhere down here, the big thing might be okay, growing timber.
Hmm.
Yeah, we replace the pines the trees that we take from you, we replace them. They got a program for that
Okay.
because timber's big here.
Hmm.
So okay, well, hey, you go ahead and take my little 10 acres of timber. Okay, yeah, we'll put more trees down for you if you want them. You're not gonna pay for them. They give
Right.
you the seedlings for it. Where so each place has its own little thing.
Is there any such thing as absolutely free money that doesn't require a loan? I mean, you get the money and it's a forgivable type loan. You don't have to pay it back after a certain
Oh,
amount.
yeah. There's
Okay.
grant money out there for like us, like I said, those well programs for
Yes.
the well thing, ponds, some of that stuff. Those are grants a lot of times. Excuse me. So look at grants um more so than loans.
Okay.
I mean that's why I tell people check the grants out first before you go to the loan part. Yeah,
Okay.
the loan interest rate is low and the terms are pretty good. but also too, check out the grants that they have out there. But see, now grants, you got to be on top of them right away. You can't play with them. You can't like, well, hey, I get to it next week or whatever type of thing. If they got a grant, there may be a time frame for it. And then with the grants too, it might be also a case of, okay, look, the earlier you get in, the sooner you can, you'll be able to actually get a spot. So if it says January 1 to like February 1, January 2, you want to have your paperwork in.
Yes.
Because you might be in line before. So me, if I come up January 31st and say, hey, here's my paperwork, or February 1, they're gonna be like, yo, we out of money already, man. Sorry. you know.
Okay.
So you don't want to end up in a situation like that. And that's why a lot of times with grants, you got to hit them real quick, fast, in a hurry, and make sure you do what you got to do with them. If they ask you to, have this, that, and the third in, um, have that in there. And some of them too also will be like the thing with the goat wire fencing thing, where you might have to pay out the money first, but they will guarantee that you're gonna get cut a check 3 months from now or 6 months from now once you show that, hey, I did do the goat wire fencing. Hey, this is what it cost me. This is what you approved me for. Now cut my check. Now they do a lot of that too with some of the grants.
Okay.
So that's something definitely you want to talk about too. People if they're looking for that kind of stuff, because I mean, there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of grant money out there, but again, you got to like sometimes something I forget there's a name for it. I can't think of the name of it now. Where they basically it goes in order of, hey, who gets in there first
Mm-hmm.
is who gets the money. Who gets the money? It's not like we're gonna accumulate all of them and wait till the 1st of February and then say, okay, now we're gonna go through the paperwork. No, they a lot of times will do it as they come in. So, okay, we got money for this one. Okay, we like this program. You do this and that. Okay, here's your check. Once we see you do this or that.
Right.
You know. So
And
that's yeah. So there's a lot of grant money out there for that kind of stuff too.
so usually
Like I
with
said,
grants, do they typically want the business plan as well, like as with the loans?
yeah, they're gonna probably want some sort of plan of what
Mhm.
you're planning on doing. As you know, Uncle Sam ain't gonna give no money out unless he knows what you're doing. So,
Exactly.
so basically, it's the same kind of thing. Once you know what you're, once they just want to see, okay, well, hey, I want to raise, 5,000 quail. I want to be a quail farmer, and I'm gonna be raising like 50,000 of them a year total. And this is what I want to do, and this is my plan to do it. That's all they're gonna basically ask you.
Okay.
And if they have them in the monies are available, well, hey, we're giving out $20,000 grants. We're giving out $15,000 grants. So that's something that you can look at too.
And okay, that sounds good. I know we covered the aquaponics, the hydroponics, and some of the ways to access the USDA and also our local systems for getting money. Is there anything else that we didn't cover that maybe we should cover?
Now I know you were asking about the VA part of it all,
Oh yeah.
veterans. With me being a veteran, yeah, I served my time for Uncle Sam,
Okay.
and I didn't retire from it, but I served my time for Uncle Sam.
How
4 years,
many how
huh?
many how many years were you in the military?
4 years in the Marine Corps,
Oh, okay.
and there's a veteran to farm program for those who are veterans, basically, that they'll help you out more with that kind of thing too, with getting your food to market, and kind of giving you preferences with some stuff. That is a program. I want to say it's still going on. But I'll double check and see. But I want to say that's still going on, the veteran to farm program, because they're looking for people like veterans when they're coming out. Um, some of them, are not coming. I mean, some of them that never had another job prior to the veteran being a veteran, being a vet. I mean, being a military person, they didn't. They're not like, it's not like a reservist where they came out and they go back to their regular job. So a lot of times they're trying to find people to again get into farming, because, like I said, the average age is like 50 plus, and a 50 plus year old white male that basically is tired. you know, they're tired. They've been doing this for years. They might be working another job now because farming's not paying like it used to. Um, and the overhead cost is could be astronomical. Depends on what you're doing. Cattle stuff like that can be expensive to purchase. But you get paid royally when you sell them, as
Okay.
long as beef prices stay up. I mean, I know guys, I mean, $3, $4, $5,000 for cows, for a cow, a cow. So it depends on what you had, black Angus, white, red Angus, Santa Gertrudis, stuff like that, meat cattle.
Okay.
Milk cows. In fact, they don't even have any dairies around here anymore. They said they got rid of all of them. People sold out of them because milk cows didn't make any money really.
A lot of
So,
people are going away from dairy as far as just drinking milk, just because of a
right.
lot of the things that they hear about milk and how maybe it might not be the best thing to drink health
Right.
wise.
I
Yeah.
mean, and so like the thing about it is, and that's what's happened with that is kind of it's caused problems for the milk industry. So if you're doing the milk cow thing, you you're not gonna make money on that. You'd be better off milking goats. Because goat milk is actually better for you than dairy milk is, but I mean cow milk is. But um, especially if you can get it raw
Hmm.
before it's processed and messed around with, and all that crap. And 'cause I used to have a person that I could get it from raw, and they filter it, so it doesn't have anything like hair or anything, any nasty crap in. But
So
they outside of that, they don't do anything to it.
you talking about
And
raw goat milk?
yeah, raw goat milk, raw even cow milk, you can do the same thing.
Hmm.
I've tasted it before. It actually tastes better. It's not like, but it's they before they pasteurize and homogenize it, you can run it through filters so that you
Hmm.
don't have anything like nastiness in it, whatever they have, that's natural.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's a program basically where they're looking for people like veterans to go into farming, and they're helping you out with it. When the last time I saw the program, they're helping you out with getting started and stuff like that. So um, that's something that with your vet, you want to check with the local VA and also the county extension and
So
your VA office. What do you call it? The VA. See, they closed a lot of them up. It was like I used to be able to go. I know in a lot of places, unless you live in a city area, a lot of these small towns like here where I'm at, they closed the local VA office up that would help you with all this stuff. You could sit down with somebody, and so what happens? They have a person that's here like once a week for so many hours.
okay.
So, you know, they could tell you about all these programs and all this hidden stuff that's done. If you're disabled, what they can do for you, and you're non-disabled. It's a lot of different things. So, I would tell them to check out with the local VA office.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
yeah.
Well, thank you for so much. And again, I don't want to cut you short because I don't know all the ins and outs of everything. That's why you really know so much about it. I mean, well versed because you're doing it yourself.
Yeah,
And,
man.
and that's what
That's
I'm.
what we try to help folk out. Basically, try to help people out with it, to walk them through it because there's a lot of junk that, like I would tell somebody when they fill out the form, say if they did decide to go with the loan and they found a piece of land, they went with the loan. I would tell you make sure you have somebody read it first because you can say something, an if or an and or an or can make a difference between you getting paid and you not. Because I read that thing, triple read it when I did it. I'm like, no, 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 I'm getting it. And then, matter of fact, the lady, the agent, even she went through it and she was like, okay, make sure, take that out, take that word out, take that word out of here, because that's gonna sound like, you kind of, sort of doing something.
Right. You don't want to leave any room for any loopholes that might leave you on the bad end of it.
Yep.
For
And
you.
that's what happened. So I would say anybody, like whether it be grant, loan, anything dealing with Uncle Sam, SBA, I tell people, like I said, because I did the banking thing for 25 years. And I would tell people, like I said, when it came to SBA, no, take that word out, take this word out, don't put that in there, don't do that, because they go through them bad boys with a fine tooth comb. And
Okay.
they sit there and like them numbers, this number here, no, 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 son, this number ain't adding up. Take that mess out or change that number. I didn't tell you to make it fictitious, but you do what you want to do. But,
I have another question for you now. You were in banking for 25 years, and that is, a good career to retire from and be in for 25 years. It also sounds like, more of a, suit and tie type of career. And then to know that you're doing your farming now and like your homestead and you do your animals and livestock. How did you make that transition? Is it something that you always in your back of your mind that you wanted to do? Did you always love it? Or how did you make that leap into what you do now?
It's kind of funny. And then people laugh and call it Green Acres. Because, like I said, I'm from New York. My wife's from here. And we met when I was working in Nashville. I transferred down there after I got divorced from my first wife. And she said she lived in a small place, Talladega, Alabama. I'm like, Talladega, Alabama. I said, I thought that was a racetrack.
I heard of that too.
Yeah, because that's what well, it is. It's the world's largest NASCAR track here. It's the world's largest and fastest. And I'm thinking, Talladega. I didn't know people actually live in this place. And she was like, yeah, I've been living here for 20 years because she went to college here because there's an HBCU here in Talladega, and it's like the oldest HBCU in the country or something. One of them. And so I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know. All I knew about is the racetrack and the Honda plant. I said, I know they build Hondas here. And so she was like, yeah. So I said, okay, well, she's like, I did the chicken thing. My son started out with doing a few chickens, and this is kind of, growing up into an operation of that. I said, oh, I mean, is that going to turn you off? So we started dating and everything. I said, nah, when I came here, I'm like, oh, okay, it ain't that bad. I'm thinking it was going to be like real rural. Like we way out, next neighbor's 5 miles away kind of thing. I'm like, nah, it ain't like, okay, it's nothing like that. And so then, once I got here and we got married and everything, and I said, okay, I started looking at expanding it. So I said, next thing we started off with a couple of chickens, about 6, 7, 10 chickens, to ended up like the next year we ended up with about 10 or 15 ducks, 2 geese, about 75 chickens, and was growing all in about, say, a 20th of an acre, 10th of an acre, right on that. We were growing tomatoes, collard greens, peppers, the whole thing. So I kind of got into it a little bit over too much. And they were like kind of looking at me like, okay, well, you came in from one person that went from one extreme to now, you don't blew this up to something huge.
Yes.
And so then we started talking about it some more. I said, well, we can expand upon this. And the next year after that, we ended up with like about 150 ducks, about 200 chickens, all these things, about 15, 20 turkeys. 4 or 5 geese, guineas. We started doing the whole thing, and this was all being done from a very large backyard. And so we didn't have the goats yet, we didn't have the horses yet, we didn't have all that stuff. And so then my son was in high school by that time. His mother was a teacher, and so they were like, he wanted to know, he needed more space, which actually meant Joe needed more space because I need to create more stuff. So next thing you know, we woke up and I was like, that's when we found the land and found out about the program.
Okay.
And just kind of like went with it from there, and and then the horses and the other stuff came in, and
how many do you have?
I have, let's see, 5 miniature ponies. 5 miniature ponies, 2 regular sized ponies, 2 donkeys, and we're about to get an Appaloosa and a quarter horse. Now that's another nice thing about it too. When you do the little farm, people just give you stuff. People would just start giving you. I mean, some of this stuff, a lot of we had to purchase, but some of the miniatures, we had a lady from down the road from me gave it to us.
That's cool.
She was like, you want me? Our niece's granddaughter, whoever it was, she's grown up now, and the horse kept escaping anyway and coming down to our property. So she was like, we caught it one day and brought it back. And she's like, did you want her? I'm like, oh, cool, yeah. So people are just give you stuff a lot of times.
That is nice. Yeah, I have heard of that with a friend of mine that has horses. He already has a horse trailer, and someone up the road or something wanted to just give him one, and those things are a lot of money. And he was like, no, thanks, I don't need it. And I was like, well, why didn't you take it? You could have sold it or gave it to somebody else who needed it. I just didn't need it. But yeah, so that's interesting. People will just give you stuff and
Yeah, I mean, I've had people, man, they just come up and like, hey, I got a chicken coop. It's this big by this big. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, next day I know it's sitting there waiting for me when I come back.
okay.
Because we don't live where the farm is at. We live about 6 miles away.
Okay.
So because we haven't put a house on it yet. Matter of fact, next time if we talk again, I'll show I can show you the video from I can do it live from there.
Okay.
It's somewhat hard though because the signal.
Mm-hmm.
Only reason I didn't do it this time because the signal's kind of funky.
Yeah.
Where I have some spots where I won't get a signal, and then I can literally go up the hill. I'll get a signal. It's real kind of off and on, and that's with Verizon either.
Mm-hmm.
And usually Verizon you get a signal in a cave, but there are spots where I can't get a signal even in on there with Verizon, and that's the reason why I said, well, let me do it. Pull over and everything, and do it. From right around the corner here. So I gotta go in Dunkin' Donuts and get some coffee in a minute.
Okay.
But
Your thing. So, so with how we started, and we were talking about how the lawsuits are for Black farmers because they were just kind of squeezed out of the whole money making field of farming. They were pushed out. And now we're finding, talking to you, that there's money set aside for some minority farmers, and they want Black people to get more into farming. Do you think they will try to do the same thing with those people, or do you think there's a better chance for Black people to be successful in this industry now?
I think there's a chance. It's still a difficult industry even for white folk now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, because it's just not as profitable. Because it's a lot of work for a little that you get. It's a lot of time being spent, a lot of money being dropped on it, and even with grants and loans and stuff, you still gonna have to spend your money eventually for something, especially feeding animals and stuff like that. Because behind me, if you see, that's what all this is here.
That's a lot of
yeah, that's just a small amount because I had to it got shifted. Oh, it fell over actually, but that's just a small amount of what I gotta get. It's like about 4 or 5 bags back here, chicken feed, horse, goat, and so what happens is you end up spending say a couple $100 a month. So when I go to the feed store, that's where I was at earlier. That's why I said I'll talk to you after 11 my time. I forgot. 2 different time zones. I meant to tell you that because I'm in Central Time Zone. Because people are like, Alabama's. I'm like, no, I'm 30 miles in the Central Time Zone. From Georgia. I'm 30 miles from the Georgia border. Where Georgia is Eastern, I'm Central. So a lot of times when I talk to people about stuff, it's like, okay, let me help you out. It's your time, 11 o'clock my time, 10, like.
Yeah.
So that because people are like, oh, you said 11. I'm like, no, 11. I meant to say 11 my time, which would be 12 your time. But so the thing of it is, I think the money that's being out there for that, I think will help because they're looking for unrepresented minorities, like I was telling you.
Yes.
And a few other people on Ren's page, they're looking for that now, especially Black women farmers.
Okay.
They're hard. Matter of fact, they're hard to come by. Matter of fact, I've only seen. I know of one. She's not originally from here. She's from California, and she ended up same kind of thing story, like almost like mine. The husband was from here, and they were going. They came back here, and they got a 100-acre farm, and I think he died before they even finished building the house.
Oh.
So she ended up, doing it, going with the organic option, which I did that a few years ago. Being certified that I grow organic food, tomatoes, and all that good stuff like that. Don't use any pesticides. Don't use any GMO stuff.
Okay.
And I had to, get my certification for that. And we did that. They come out to your place, check everything, make sure everything's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Go through a whole big process with that whole thing.
Then where do you sell your produce to become certified?
Sorry about that. Somebody
Okay.
What happened?
Where do you sell your produce once you become certified in organic?
So they have They have little farmers markets around here, usually in the spring to summertime. So about usually March, April, about April, about May, they'll kick in. They will end August the one that we have in our particular town ends in August, which is kind of stupid because collard greens are just being planted in August.
Right.
And collard, mustard, and turnip, which is big here, But the thing about it is, they don't do their best until the first frost, which
Exactly.
won't be for another 3 months. So people are like, "Why don't you?" And then you got peaches that come out and apples,
Hmm.
which are grown here. So they ended in August, but I think next year they're gonna do it into September, October. I heard, but I'm like, this makes no sense, But
Is your produce section or production big enough for you to have to hire pickers, or do you pick everything yourself?
no, I just picked everything. We did it ourselves.
Okay.
When we first started doing me, I mean, we did this year. Well, put this way, this year and last year, we didn't do any growing really
Hmm.
because we were dealing more with the animals and dealing more with that whole entire thing, that process. So the growing part kind of we just kind of like, let's give it a year or two off, then we'll get back into it. So this year we're going to get back into it
Hmm.
because I'm trying to get a greenhouse. My wife and I were talking about it to see if we can get a grant for a greenhouse, and they'll pay for it. And I was like, yeah, if I can get one, because a friend of ours did. They got a grant for a greenhouse and they paid for it. And I was like, this thing is huge. It's a big, huge. The only problem is you got to have some people there to help you put it together because they'll give you the money for it, but you got to figure out how to put that gigantic monstrosity together. And that's another thing too. Hoop houses, greenhouses. I want to go more that route this time.
Okay.
I had a small greenhouse that you could walk in and do everything, but it wasn't. It was more size of a shed, maybe.
Hmm.
But they do have grant money for like large size hoop houses.
Okay.
And that's what I would want, one of those, and make sure I get a heater for it too. Because as a friend of mine, that same friend that got one didn't have a heater and lost all of his tomatoes.
Ooh, that's not good. Yeah,
Lost
you.
all of his tomatoes. He may. I mean. It was sad when we went over there and we were sitting there talking. He was like, "Man, I didn't put the heater on, and the heater wasn't in here." I'm like, he lost every. All of a sudden, it got cold when it normally wouldn't here,
Hmm.
and he lost like every single tomato he had. So you talking about egg on near half an acre of tomatoes, that he had in there. So,
Hmm.
which is a lot.
Right.
But you would go to, like I said, when it comes to the sale part of it all, like I said, your local farmers markets. Um, there's a big farmers market in Birmingham. It's they call it Pepper Place, and it's like the it place to be. Where everybody, they bring this stuff in. Your organic farmers bring this stuff in to there. Um, I mean, I could go the Atlanta route too, you know,
Okay.
and go that direction too. So I'm like right in between the two. Yeah. So that's what most people would end up doing if you get into the growing thing, you do organic. Farmers markets are usually everywhere. Organic farmers markets, or if you do CSAs, where you have people that will pay you, like say every month or every week or every 2 weeks, for you to give them basically to build up a bag of food for them of tomatoes and oranges and peppers and all that other stuff. You would sell them like this thing where say for $50 a month it's going to get you this much of a bag of whatever groceries. So honey, stuff like that, 'cause that's a big one too.
Hmm. Yeah, we did
Yeah,
touch on honey in Ren's chat that day. Yeah.
right. Whoa, sorry. Yeah,
Oh.
in Ren's chat we talked about it. Yeah, like I said, honey, I have no. I mean, it's just me. I'm not trying to get stung.
Mhm.
So I'm like, I'm just really not trying to get stung. I know a lot of guys that do it. And then, um, people don't realize there's a lot of things that can go wrong with beehives. They get some sort of, I think it's a disease, bee mites or something like that. I think it's bee mites, like
Oh.
like dust mites, but they're bee mites, and it could kill a whole nest off.
Mm.
Something like that could happen.
Hmm.
It's just a lot of different things. I mean, that I've seen people complain about. I did all this stuff, and now all of a sudden my whole entire thing gets wiped out. Um, this woman lady that we get our honey from, that happened to her. She had 40, no 50. It was like 50 or 60 hives.
Hmm.
She had 50 or 60 of them, and she lost like 40 of them.
Wow, almost all our bees.
Disease get them. Bam. All of a sudden or they all fly off somewhere else and don't come back, kind of thing. Or it's a lot of you can't stand on the side of the beehive thing because of this thing you does thing you, or they think you're trying to do something to them. Or it's a lot of different stuff too with bees. So I mean, I give it to honey growers. They do they do.
They face so many challenges. That's one thing. I mean, like you say, they could just roam anywhere they want to go, and they don't have to come back. They might like the blossom there at the next farm better and go join that hive. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Yeah, I mean because I know they were complaining. Matter of fact, talking to the guy the other day at the co-op in the cooperative place I get my feed from, and he does bees, and he was telling me they had to go to Georgia this year to get his bees. So I mean, it's stuff like I'm like, nah, that's okay. I mean, all these animals have diseases that you can catch. Because it was a flu thing that was going around with chickens.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why I got stuck with so many. I got stuck with close to 300 chickens year before last, because what happened? My wife's class was incubating them,
Mm-hmm.
and they were doing the incubation thing, and they were popping out chickens left and right, little chicks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, we can't sell them to anybody because of this influenza avian flu thing.
Right.
So until that got lifted, we were stuck with a whole bunch of chickens, a whole bunch. So it's a lot of work with that.
Okay.
So,
Well, it sounds like you keep busy and keeping your animals healthy and keeping, things moving and growing your farm and growing all your agriculture things. And that's just, to me, that's really exciting. I'm glad you stopped by to share that with me today.
oh no, definitely. Like I said, 'cause I know you talked about it last week. I mean, when you contacted me, and you and I talked to like I said, Cass, which is Educated Smoker. Cass is her name.
Mm-hmm.
And Cass and I talked because I known her for a little bit,
Oh,
but
okay.
so we kicked it around about some stuff too, and other people have hit me up about it. I said, because thing about it is, it's work. It's not cheap. Um, I had to sometimes have people help me with it because some of this stuff is just too heavy for one person to deal with, and I got to watch myself with it, health wise too. You make one mistake and it's it's a wrap. People been hurt, killed, everything else out here with these machines and everything. So it's not just a me job. It's a whole entire family and some people else helping out too. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you definitely got to know when to say when and get the help when you need it and stay
Yeah.
safe around all that farm equipment. I used to work at a place that insured farmers, and some of the stories I would hear about people dying in silos, little kids playing in there, and then they couldn't get out and suffocated, or
Yep.
one guy even got ran over by one of his, I forget what you call the thing, but it pretty much just shredded him up. He fell off and got shredded up by his equipment. And I've never heard of such stories before working at that place. It was pretty sad. So I know it takes a lot out of you. It takes a lot of focus. It takes a lot of commitment. And then for you to do all that, and then sometimes you barely break even, and just
Oh, yeah.
staying above water. That's a lot of dedication to go through all that and still,
Oh yeah, it is. And the thing about it, I mean, saving grace is, we have our regular incomes coming in. So I would tell anybody who's going to look at doing it, even on a small or larger scale, still keep your 9 to 5 because you're not going to. This is long unless you got some like golden kind of thing that goes on. Still, even if you had cattle or something like that, still keep your 9 to 5 because some prices can go up and down.
Mhm.
Pigs, which I'd never deal with that again either. I don't think because pigs would work me out last time. They're mean little jokers, man. But dealing with hogs, man, because goats can get downright mean with you. I've been hit up a couple times in the leg, and they'll ram you and bump you, and you get kicked from donkeys and horses. So I've had it all happen, with that. Get kicked by a donkey a couple times.
Oh, be careful.
Yeah, that's why I said you had to watch her. See, and now I tell people, no, 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 no. When you're around me, I said watch one of them. I said because they'll sit there and they'll just walk up to you and kind of kick you and then walk away. I said, so that's why I tell people, don't if you go stand, don't just be mindful of that because you watch out for them kicking you
Yep,
or try to ram you or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
People been killed by cows a lot too.
Really?
Yeah, because You're not gonna outrun that cow. Okay, you
They'll
got them
just
big
keep
bulls. You're not gonna outrun that bull. I'm telling you. That's what I tell you. Have an exit escape plan when it comes to dealing with the farm animals that size too.
okay.
So cattle especially, they will ram you, hit you. Okay. Yeah. But no, like I said, no. If you have any other questions, though, I mean, if I can, or if I find more stuff as we go along, because with it being a new year, um, well, even with a fiscal year for the government is like October, but being a new calendar year, as things, if new programs come up, or a lot of times it nationwide, I mean, I'll tell you, I'll give you a hit, a holler, and different grant programs and stuff that are like nationwide grant programs. But everything right now is like
Dried up.
frozen. Yeah, everything's frozen. Everything is no, he's not even frozen. It's frozen right now because of this whole government shutdown thing.
Right.
And USDA is one of the areas, U.S. Department of Agriculture. Because matter of fact, they're not even doing inspection.
No.
No, I saw that read that the other day. They're not even I guess they're going. They don't. They're not doing food inspections,
So is
which
the
is kind of
food
scary.
going through without being inspected?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. The FD. I don't know. I don't know if it's the I think the FDA or the USDA. One of the two does food inspections. I think it's USDA.
That is horrible.
Yeah. So with this whole entire shutdown, it's causing a lot of problems. It's a lot of
That makes me think I would rather for the food. I mean, I don't want people or myself to go hungry, but I don't want food going through that hasn't been inspected either. That's
right.
not.
But chances are the food that's sitting in your average Walmart or supermarket right now, Kroger or whatever, is probably weeks and not months old, especially canned goods. And so the thing of it is, you won't see the effects of that until probably spring, except for like maybe things like meat
Yeah,
that
thinking of the
if you
fresh food.
that might be affected because that's something that wouldn't be sitting around for months. It'd be
Right.
sitting around for days, if not hours.
Yeah, right.
So, so I don't know if that affects. I don't know if the local health inspectors would look at those meats then. I mean, I don't know if they push it off to the state to do it or whatever. But I read I forgot where I read it at. It was in the news. I think in the newspaper somewhere. But they're not USDA is shut down, and the FDA is,
Not doing the inspections.
and they're not doing inspections, and that's not a good thing at all. So hopefully they will end this thing over the stupid border wall and move on.
Well, let's keep our fingers crossed. But I know you have a busy day and a busy life, and I'll let you get back to it. It sounds
No,
I feel
no
almost
problem.
guilty for keeping you from it for this long.
Oh no, that's why I put it aside. That's why I said Saturday. 'Cause I felt bad because I said initially when I forgot. I said, "Oh shoot, I forgot I had a dentist appointment." I was like, I'm doing this stupid thing with them with my bridge, and I said, and I forgot. Oops, I said I got the doctor's appointment that one day. 'Cause I try to keep them all in a row
Close.
because it's not like it's not like none of them are real nearby. They're all like 25 miles away or 50 miles away. So I got to like drive to like the next town over to go to the doctor, or next town over. Sometimes I got to go to Birmingham with the VA. And then sometimes with the dentist, same thing. I'm like, man, eye doctor, same thing. I'm like, come on, man. you know. So it's that was one that took a lot getting used to. I was used to like, okay, let me go around the corner. There it is. But
Now you're
here, yeah,
there.
out in the country, yeah, it's hard. But no, I'm glad we did get a chance to talk together and about, like I said, as I find out more stuff too. Once this whole thing does get lifted, um, they're probably, like I said, funding to these places. Like I said, you got to with the grants, you got to hit them up early and do them because what happens is it might be $1 million grant, and it's a case of where it might be okay, $1 million grant, and it's like okay, well, you one of the first ones in, you get a piece of that game, you get a piece of the bag, and now it's like okay, whereas I wait till the last day, it's like you get none of the bag, you
Exactly.
know.
First serve.
Yeah. So and the same thing with programs too. I will tell you from the bank aspect of it all. There are programs out there too. Check not just for farming, but in general. Um, check out for like in general, they're grants that a lot of these banks have because under the Community Reinvestment Act, that will help you repair your house.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they had one here with one of the banks. It was $15,000 they were giving out to help you repair your get a new air conditioner or repair your give you a new roof, stuff like that. So they were doing programs like that, and that's the money that's free money.
That's free money at the bank.
Yeah, that's what the banks were doing. That was free money, and that was a program they were doing here at one of the little local banks. Again, matter of fact, it was funny because the lady that turned us on about the farm loan thing was the woman that was telling me about it because she asked me that I know anybody. I think the one stipulation was they had to be a veteran
Oh,
for
okay.
that particular program.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of them are just for people in general. If
Okay.
you have because they have a lot of the banks have a lot of money that they put out to these communities, and a lot of people don't know about it. And under the Community Reinvestment Act, and a lot of times they won't tell you, hey, we're doing this thing where we're giving $5,000 towards kids daycare center if you build one or something, and we're getting this. Like I said, that's free money. These are grants, not loans. These are grants. They're giving you the money.
Right. I'll look into that too. I'll do my homework as soon as we get off the air here because I'm
Yeah.
assuming some of that money, they probably people that they make aware probably wouldn't be like you or me. We'd have to dig up the information, but the people that they want to know, they probably tell those people to take
Oh
advantage.
yeah, they
Yeah.
do. They tell them a lot of times because, like I said, I knew from when I was working there. Like I said, I would see stuff come past me in my office, and
Hmm.
and I knew that, of course, the community reinvestment officer. I knew her personally, Carla. It was a sister that was there,
Okay.
and she knew me, of course, for years. We grew up together, and so there'd be programs that she would tell me about. People didn't know about them things.
Right.
Nobody knew about it. I'm like, I said, "When Carla, when they gonna tell?" She said, "We try to put them out. We put them out to the churches. We put them out to the communities, and a lot of these people, don't either don't pay attention to them or don't hear them.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, yeah, if you're looking for projects from fixing your house to doing whatever, they're out there.
I
They're
definitely
like,
need that because I am starting my own business, as I mentioned before, and I will definitely need to update some things and just make sure
mhm.
everything's in proper repair, get all my smoke detectors in check, make sure my
Yeah,
doors have the proper locks and closed a certain way because each person that will be here will have to have a room door that locks and they'll have their own key, so they'll have their privacy and everything. So,
oh,
uh,
okay. You're doing like a group home type of thing.
yes,
Okay.
I am. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Matter of fact, I used to matter of fact, that was my little side job. I used to be a supervisor at one.
Oh,
Yeah, so I mean, it was like that was God about 10, 11 years ago. I did that. That was a little side money I made on that, and it was cool actually. I had a house. They were like I only had one that had like psych physical kind of health issues. The
hmm,
rest of them was old. They were older. Because some houses had people that had like for real issues. You had to watch them constantly.
right.
And I was fortunate that when I was at, man, it was a nice big house. And they just we had one that you had to kind of keep we had a like electronic lock that you couldn't get out unless you knew how to get out. But it
Oh,
was a paddle I needed to slap to get for me to run out of it if I was on fire or whatever,
hmm,
and for them to get out. But she was the only problem child we had. She was deaf and had some sight issues and you know
okay. Okay.
yeah. So we had to do all that good fun stuff too. So it's a lot of work. I mean, that's a program that yeah you definitely want to see if the banks are doing something for your house or whatever. They say hey I'm looking to put a new roof on or like you said smoke detectors and stuff, and they're doing a lot of those little programs.
Yeah, smoke detectors, upgrade my windows. I live in an older home, built in 1890, no, 1990, 1891. So it's over yeah, it's
Okay,
really
yeah,
old, 1891. So I need to upgrade my windows and I already put a roof on and,
oh
just
yeah,
things. And so, yeah, I'll get it together. And I'm definitely going to do my homework. And I really, really appreciate you taking your time out with me today. And
no problem. Anytime,
we'll be in.
anytime. But no, definitely we'll talk again. Like I said, soon. As we can find out more stuff. Like I said, as this stuff gets lifted, hopefully, and this war ends, and the government gets back to the business of doing its job. Like I said, if I see programs, like I said, when I talk to the county agent, I gotta go see him anyway next week.
Okay.
um, and see what, if there's something like different programs going on nationwide. So.
All right. Well, you have a great rest of your day, and I'll be looking
Okay.
forward to some additional info if you have it from once you meet with your county agent.
All right. Talk with you soon.
All
All
right.
right now. Have a good day.
Yeah,
All
bye-bye.
right. Bye-bye.